We can resist age-related decline in bone mineral density and reduce fracture risk by loading bone. And also resistance training, ideally 2 or 3 days a week for 20 to 30 minutes at a time, choosing exercises that target the common fracture sites of the wrist and the hip. The leg pull front prep, tucking the toes underneath. This is a higher level loading through the arm and also higher level core stability called for. So breathe in through the nostrils, and as you exhale, come to hover the knees just away from the couch. Inhale as you hold, exhale as you lower. So that's a 4 breath pattern, and of course you could do a 2 breath, which is exhale as you lift and then inhale as you lower. Wonderful. And so Brenda's doing a wonderful job of keeping everything lovely and still. She's maintaining this contact with the scapula onto the rib cage. The chin is in, the neck is long, and just soften those elbows very slightly, hover. And the exhale really helps to offload the pelvic floor at this point as well, which is really, really important to consider. And make this one the last one. Moving on to the reverse leg pull. This calls for a lot of wrist extension, and so it's not suited to everybody. Also a lot of upper body strength. So bear that in mind when you are choosing these exercises for your clients. We're working the superficial back line and the posterior oblique myofascial line. Coming in this position, long seated, I would suggest that we squeeze the legs tightly together, and that just gives us a little bit more integrity. Inhale, and as you exhale, we're lifting the seat up to come into a reverse plank position. So more or less a straight line from the heels to the shoulders, and then exhale as you lower. And so you might feel like you need to make adjustments. If you do, then please go ahead. And really a sense of long and open. Now the head can be looking towards your toes, or you could look your head up towards the ceiling if that was appropriate for the neck. And then lowering down. Maintaining that central core connection. We'll just do one more. Don't want to tire Brenda out. Gluteal muscle activation and really a lot of upper body strength. The option for a segmental bridge offers us the spinal mobilization, the segmental movement through each level of the spine. And so we'll begin with that. Rolling that marble from the pubic bone in towards the navel, and then continue to lift the spine bone by bone until you come to rest on the shoulder blades. Inhale at the top and then exhale as you lower. So although this is a common exercise, there's a lot that can go wrong. Keeping the whole of the sole of the foot on the ground, it's sometimes the case that people are tempted to rotate the feet and lift the big toe. Keeping the knees pointing away from you and in line with the hip joints. So it's quite common that the knees will wander off to the east or west. Moving through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, scooping the abdominal contents gently, and then at the top, the danger is that we can overextend and poke the ribs. So just be very mindful of this connection through the front of the body. We're working the anterior oblique sling, the posterior oblique sling, and the deep longitudinal sling. Breathe out as you lift, breathe in at the top, and breathe out as you lower. So the segmental bridge is not suited to everybody. And there is a suggestion that with a diagnosis of osteoporosis, this is loaded flexion and should be avoided. And so we could lift and lower the hips in this case. And so if you imagine that you are moving at the crease of the hip joint this time, maintaining the neutral alignment through the spine, breathe out as you lift, breathe in as you lower. It's also gluteal endurance. and do as much as we can to be soft and relaxed through the upper part of the body. Now, this is an ideal opportunity to incorporate the pelvic floor activation. A pelvic floor contraction sensibly goes with an exhale and lifting. The muscle connections between the gluteal muscles and the pelvic floor make this a perfect opportunity. Also, the advantageous relationship with gravity. And so we will have taught our client the appropriate cues for them to engage the pelvic floor most effectively.